Up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It is Tuesday. We got the legend Amon Richards on. A lot to talk about here today. First, shout out Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Let's get right into it. Let's do the double hop in here. Hop in, Pete. Oh, there he is. Let's hop in him on. There he is.
Let's go.
How we doing, boys?
I'm doing great, man. That was some fireworks last night, man.
Amon, you saw that? You saw Mario Cristobal roasting Kirby Smart?
Hey, I enjoyed it. I saw the clips. I didn't watch like the full segment, but from the clips, that's what it reminds me of, like, you know, you have like your good friend. You guys just kind of talk crazy to each other, you know, but you all know it's all in joking matters. But yeah, no, it was definitely entertaining from the clips I saw.
There's truth in every joke, though, Amon.
Hey, listen, you got to drop a few nuggets every now and then, you know. Got to let the enemies know that we know you, you know.
So I'm going to play them. I'll play them now. I'll start with Kirby here, D, because, you know, just for context, Kirby was the first one to take the mic and make this thing public. I think, as you guys will hear, I don't know that Kirby was too happy with some of the comments Mario made to him personally. So here we go. This was, you know what? Let me make sure that I get the audio on there. I'm used to not putting the audio. So here we go.
Well, first of all, he was an incredible family, and he was a joy to recruit. We had a great time, had a great relationship. They're a fun-loving. Just being back with them tonight, I hadn't got a chance to talk to them in a while, and they were going back and forth about the 50th birthday party he got and the 50th birthday party she got, and it wasn't quite the same.
It's Ellis Robinson, by the way, the foreigner recruit.
We probably sponsored that trip with all the NIL money we spent, so I promise you that's a good, safe bet. But that's all right. They deserve it. Mario's right behind him, and if it had been up to him, he would have paid a lot more NIL money because it came down to us too. So I don't like you being real close to Mario right now. You know what I'm saying? He's still got another year left. Got to be careful around Mario. Sometimes he'll take your players, if you know what I mean. But no, I'm just kidding. It's all right. I was talking to Mario earlier, and he came up to me and he gave me a Lane Kiffin joke. And he and Lane are very similar in a lot of ways. They're like best friends. And he came up to me. He's like, "You ought to start getting on some protein shakes. You've had too many carbs." And I said, "Well, you probably ought to spend some time with Steve Spurrier because he won more conference championships at Duke than you have in Miami." So Coach Spurrier and him got to visit some.
All right, do we want to get into those comments before we talk about Mario? Because there's a lot to dissect there.
Well, that was Ellis Robinson he was talking about, who Nani battled for and then ended up signing with Georgia. So it was a freshman, just for the context, it's in Gainesville. I think it's in Gainesville. And it was a Steve Spurrier event, basically honoring the top freshman, which was Ellis Robinson, redshirt freshman for Georgia, who Miami recruited, and then Malachi Toney, which is why Mario and Kirby were the two coaches there. By the way, I've heard these guys are boys. I don't know. These things change very fast because, like, you know, one bad recruiting battle and people are mad at each other. But I have heard in the past that these guys are friends, Mario and Kirby. I don't think Mario's friends with a lot of coaches, but I heard that these two are actually cool, and Mario will call Kirby for like intel on like maybe like a Georgia guy that's in the portal, like Merriweather, for example, maybe called to say like who went from Georgia to Miami, like, hey, is there any character stuff there? Does he just want to play more, you know, and then vice versa. So they took some of our portal guys, right, that we pushed out.
I was going to say, they've taken more guys from Miami than we've taken from Georgia.
But there's been communication, at least on some of them, I know. And it's like, hey, you know, what's this guy about? So my understanding is that these are friends going back to Alabama, but you never know. I took it like a man. We'll see. Let's see the response.
For me, right? So, I mean, I think it's just like all like good relationship, you know. A lot of coaches talk like that, kind of, you know, behind the scenes, just jokingly with each other. It's just kind of one of those like competitive, friendly environments, kind of to Pete's point where you may drop some truth here and there, but it's all in good fun, right? I mean, we all know what's going on back in the day with those SEC schools. It's like the most worst kept secret that's probably ever existed besides aliens being real. You know, I mean, we all know what's going on. So it's just funny for them to actually speak on it in public in a laughing matter, because if he said that maybe a few years ago, you know, everyone would be crashing out saying he's snitching and stuff like that. But now it's all good fun. But I mean, I enjoy it. I think coaches should be a little bit more outspoken and have a little fun. You know, I think we get the image of a lot of these coaches as being so serious and uptight, but then you hear all the stories like Nick Saban's like a funny guy and laughs on the side. Like, these people are human and they have fun like us too. So it was nice to see, though, honestly, even though he's going at my coach here, but you know, it was funny. And we're gonna win the ACC this year, Mr. Kirby.
I'll tell you what, the first thing is it's a great piece right there to watch what a player like Carson Beck could do with great coaching. You know what I mean? No, seriously, let's give it up for Kirby Smart. Let's give it up for Kirby Smart. I mean, if it wasn't for all his years of pre-NIL, we wouldn't have NIL right now. But, did you reach the Robinson family, great seeing you. We leave at 9:30 on the real jet. We have more than one restaurant in Miami as opposed to Athens. Certainly appreciate being here. I know I could go on for a little bit now. But no, you gotta give a guy like Kirby credit. You know what I mean? When you have all that time to sit at home watching us play on TV throughout the playoffs, when you don't take care of business, you know. But congratulations on the SEC and the championship. That's awesome. We were 5-0 against the SEC. I don't know what you were, but man, I'm in enemy territory too. I got a feeling some of you are on Kirby's side. But no, you guys are super professional. I never felt so welcome in enemy territory, except last year at the Swamp, 41-17. But that was meant for that guy. The Georgia guy. Can we all say screw Georgia? Screw Georgia. All right, on to the real stuff. But I didn't know this was like this, so you told me to do this. So I'm going. But it is an honor to be amongst awesome coaches. Thank you, Coach, for having me.
God, it was the cadence of how he was piecing these things together that was impressive to me. And nobody was loving this more than Steve Spurrier, man. You know that he set this event up for something like that to happen, man. It's good stuff there, man. I mean, I'll say this on Kirby when he talks about the NIL stuff. There's a couple things. So first of all, he starts his joke by saying that they paid for the parties with the NIL. So, you know, that was funny to me. The other part of it that this is the part of it that's so ironic to me when people talk about, well, Miami's just spending more money than people. Okay. We know Miami's not broke now, so those jokes are dead. But we also know Miami's not spending more than Texas, than Ohio State, than listen, I don't know what Georgia's spending. You could say what you want about you know, maybe they aren't spending to that level, but we know that they're spending a lot of money. I think people get upset when Mario, I think what we do is we value certain guys at a way different level than what other programs value them at. Yeah, you're going to get outbid on a Jackson Cantwell because Mario wants the number one tackle in the country. He valued him more than you did. You guys don't have the funds to do it. Maybe you do, but you do things a certain way up there. So again, it's jokes, but the NIL part of it is a very ironic thing because you see it from these Barstool accounts and these people who don't know anything. And even these jokes about Malachi Tony's NIL deal, right? That I've had a lot of people legitimately ask me, hey, you saw this? This is real? That stuff, I know it's fun and games, but it's just very ironic to me, Amon.
Listen, man, I think to your point, when it comes to like recruiting and stuff, like, yeah, I mean, we're going to spend what we need to get the players we truly want. And that's how it should be. That's like, it's like a relationship. Like, you want your wife, you're going to propose to her, right? Like you want someone you're going to marry, you're going to take that next step. You're going to do more than the next guy. Are you not? I'm just saying that's just how it is. So same thing in recruiting world, man. Like, yeah, Cantwell, like, yeah, Mario Mirabal can get the #1 tackle with all these elite traits, and you think they're gonna let money come down to the decision maker? Like, that's why we didn't get him? Like, you're crazy. So to your point, yeah, all the schools I think have money. Like, it used to be a running joke where they said, Ruiz was running our entire university and we had no money, we were broke, and all this other craziness, and now it has completely flipped, and all of a sudden we're the team that's overspending for everyone, when in reality you see teams like LSU just blatantly just dropping checks. Ole Miss a few years ago was just spending crazy in the portal. No one really cared. So I think it's a good thing for us. Like, we're trending in the right direction, and I think the world is starting to realize that. So they got to kind of poke holes in the bear.
Yeah, I think one thing we got to take care of is we got to win the ACC. Like Amon said earlier, you can't leave that exposure there to get roasted on. So we got to get rid of that weakness. When you got weaknesses in a roast battle, there's only two options. One is the M&M method, where you got to make fun of yourself for it first, so the other person can't make fun of you for the 8 Mile trick. Mm-hmm. You got to admit it first, so they can't get you on it. And then the other one's to get rid of the weakness, right? Which is what we got to do with the ACC. We got to win the ACC and eliminate that negative recruiting, because this was all fun. I mean, these guys were just joking around, in my opinion. But
listen, I got to win the national title too. Kirby has that, so
no, that's for sure. But I'm saying, in terms of recruiting, they will, people will still use that against us for real. That we haven't won the ACC, so that's a real thing people will use against us. I agree, Pete, about the NIL. I think with Georgia in particular, it's interesting because pre-NIL, which Mario joked about, they were the biggest culprits. Them in Alabama, Kirby took it from Alabama to Georgia as far as paying guys under the table, but that was like light money. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was 40 G's, 50 G's for guys that were like 5 stars, which is obviously, you're talking about guys getting $1 million now. So it's like insane from year to year. But in terms of like the real NIL era, Georgia actually does spend less, because from what I understand, Georgia's very big institutionally on trying to get people to like respect the cap, because they think we need rules. If we don't do it, no one's going to do it. So we're going to lead from the front and respect the cap. The truth is, no one's going to respect the rules. There's be 8 schools, Miami being one of them, 9 schools that go over the cap, and you don't spend, you're going to lose players. So I hope they keep thinking like that. They can get away with it a little bit because they're a top program and they don't always have to be the high bidder on every player because they're Georgia. But over time, that fades away. So I hope they keep having that attitude. But Georgia is a team. I think it's Georgia. Florida is one of those. There's a few teams that are trying to respect the cap. And then there's teams like Oregon, Texas, Miami. They'll blow right through it.
Yeah. I think the way that the style they're trying to do at Georgia, as far as like paying guys a little bit less than what market value is, or, what other programs will. I mean, I think it's good and dandy until, they have their first like 8-4 season or 7-5, but I think they do acquire too much talent to kind of go, that far in the dumps. But, I think that kind of falls apart if they start, going, think about like Miami, like coming from the years of 5-7 and 7, and working our way up. Like, we have to acquire the talent. Obviously Georgia won the national championship in the last few years. Obviously been like the brand of the last, let's say, decade that's always in the playoffs and, things of that nature. So they have like that respect naturally within like the youth or transfer portals. But to your point, like, time continues, right? So at some point, people want to know, what have you done recently? And that's why it was big for Miami to break through and get into the playoffs, because it always going to be, what have you done recently? What have you done now? Not 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We don't care, right? At some point, I'm just curious to see like if they keep that model up, or do they start to get a little bit more aggressive if they're not in the playoffs or competing for championships in the next few years? Do they alter that? Until there's obviously going to be some change at some point, but
they just launched which I had heard before they had launched that they were going to make a more of a push, and they launched kind of like a Canes Connection sort of service within the last 3 weeks or so, where you become a member and you get access to practice and a lot of the sort of perks that if you are involved in Canes Connection, and should always try to get involved there if you aren't already. But that sort of thing could probably help them a bit. But as Dee said, I mean, whether if whether they have the money or not, they still have to be willing to go a little bit above what they've already done, which then shifts kind of like the issue is, and this is what D's getting at, is like you pay a guy more than what you normally pay a guy at the position, and it breaks your pay model. So then the rest of the guys at the position are looking around saying, well, why is he getting paid so much more than I am? And then other positions start doing the same, and it just trickles down, and that's what they're trying to avoid. But shoot, they want to keep doing that. They might keep trending the other way here. So
yeah, I know the agents are loving this though. You know, one guy gets $1 million. Hey, you got a guy on the team. He's a starter. He might be at 650, 700. You're like,
shoot.
Hey,
imagine being the agent who's working the recruitment between a Georgia and a Miami kid right now.
And we're battling them for a few guys we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, man, overall, though, I agree with, with Mon, how you broke it down in the beginning. This is fun to see. People were liking it. Like on Twitter, people were liking this. I bet they probably didn't love that it was filmed and some of the stuff got out, Like I'm sure Mario after is just kind of like, maybe some of the stuff I don't love being out.
I disagree. See, I disagree. I completely disagree. I think Mario's too aware. Mario's too aware to not think that there's going to be a single camera going. Mario wants these headlines right here that we have right now.
Maybe Mario, not the NIL comment. I don't know if he wants that one out for everybody to comment on.
Mario's too savvy. Mario, you're not giving Mario enough credit, and I, maybe I'm completely wrong there, but I think you are underestimating what Mario knows media-wise and how he wants things to be portrayed. D.
No, look,
that's my opinion on it.
You might be right, but just in general, I think Naman, you're like the Twitter plug because we're all on Twitter, but you feel like you're deep. You're in the trenches, you're in the spaces, you're really in the community like that. Man, but it feels like people, college football fans, even that are not Miami or Georgia fans, like this stuff and they think it's cool in February.
Man, I'm deep in the Twitter world right now. Burners and everything, man. We're in the trenches, man. We trying to get any and all info, but no, man. I mean, I think people enjoyed it, but I think the people who can't read the room and laugh are the ones that's kind of like taking it and like, oh my gosh, look, Mario's too happy, or like he's joking too much, like we won the natty. Like, what are we doing? Like, come on, bro. Like the man, like Mario is just like any other Miami fan, if you actually know, right? He's going to laugh, like joke, but just because he's in a press conference after a game and he's serious and he's up, like he's in game mode, he's in war mode, right? That's anyone can have that switch. But as you can see, we're in the off season at an event where we have Malachi Toney, a true freshman that they evaluated and brought in, and it's all fun and games. And he sees a old compadre, an old coaching buddy from Alabama days, and these guys probably talk behind the scenes all the time and joke about it. And they all know, let's just be honest, we all know, like what they're saying is what we all assumed was taking place, allegedly. It's just, like I said, they're just openly able to talk about it, and no one's like trying to report them to the NCAA and, get them on probation for a few years.
I'll say this, like as Aspire Consulting said, he said Mario loved it and it was well thought out, because a lot of that is his recruiting pitches. It's not, here's the thing. Guys talk about negative recruiting. When people come at Mario and say, oh, well, you guys play in the ACC, I want to go play in the SEC. Mario has it ready. Hey, we're 5-0 against the SEC. What are you talking about? We can play in the SEC. So a lot of that stuff that he's talking about is just, that's recruiting. That's recruiting. That's why I think it was very calculated, D. That's why I think he made a point to do the Carson Beck comment, because you don't think in recruiting if it's down to Georgia and Miami for any position, Mario will point to Carson Beck.
Of course.
He was saying it in a flow state where he definitely didn't write that down. Like that was like something he had in the back of his head for a minute, like those, like those internal thoughts that you just never say, and he was just letting it flow. Like, I mean, he might have some stand-up post career, because he was actually flowing with it, and it was like almost, it felt like a joking, like a stage, or what do you call those stand-up comedy? It felt like one of those like shows for a second.
Look at this. I got Amon Durant. A lot of comments about your burner account. People trying to figure you out.
Hey man, what they say? Not hard to find. Hey, listen, I'm not top tier. I will say that. I'm not top tier, K. I promise. That is not me, brother. But nah, I made a burner because when I saw like all the celebrities was doing it, so I made one just to see what it's like. And I see why people have it. You just say crazy shit. You just say crazy stuff all day. I don't really use it for like that, but it's like funny is like to respond to someone they don't know as you. You know, I can see why people like have the burners.
Sometimes I wish Pete had a burner sometimes.
Yeah, I legitimately don't have a burner.
Yeah.
What have I done that's bad though recently? D?
You're cheering for Team Canada against Team USA just for
What's wrong with that? I grew up on Canadian puck. I mean, it was a heartbreaker for me, but I mean, that was
Canadian.
That's my personal Instagram account. I thought you were mad at me for something I did on Twitter recently, like going at
probably
things of that nature. But Seth Davis, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Seth Davis, he deserved it. Seth Davis deserved it. I had your back on that one. There it is. The Twitter streets need it, though. You're feeding the Twitter streets there, Pete.
I'm sorry, guys. I keep having to mute. Got the landscapers here. The dog is going crazy, man.
Pete, when you want to step up your landscaping and go to the highest level, you can holler at my boy, Orchid Man Florida, ORCHID Man Florida.com. South Florida's official landscape artisans, Palm Beach all the way down to the Florida Keys, 786-271-0332, 10% off your first service. I'll see my boy this week at the Canes baseball games. He's always there in the coach's suite. Most plugged in guy around is the Orchid Man, ORCHID Man Florida.com. He'll run your whole operation, residential, commercial, the whole deal. OrchidManFlorida.com. Set your appointment today. Also, guys, these days just kind of boring. Need to unwind a little bit, watch a good Netflix movie, chill with the wife. You want to do that with some ZONIN Prosecco right there. Over 200 plus years of winemaking experience for the ZONIN family in Italy, one of the finest winemaking families in Italy. They've crossed the pond with my man Rob, huge Canes fan, CanesInSight supporter, and you can get these all over the country. In South Florida, you can get them in Publix, ABC Liquors, Jensen's, you name it, Total Wine all over the country and in restaurants. If they don't got it, ask for it. Say, we need that ZONIN Prosecco, 200 plus years, rocking and rolling. Talking about 90 plus on wine on James Suckling ratings. Best value on Wine Spectator. This is big time Prosecco, ZONIN, ZONIN. Look at our guy, JW. Joel, appreciate you. The man right here. Found you guys last year around this time. My Canes boys already asked me what the next breakout guys will be. Made me look really smart last year with the Malley and Fitz talk. Thanks for getting me my daily Canes fix, football, hoops, and baseball. Appreciate you, Joel. Joel's one of the guys that set the foundation for what Canes Hoops is doing now. He was in Madison Square Garden before it was cool like it is now. He really set the trends, him and his teammates. So shout out to Joel. Former Cane, lifelong Cane. Appreciate your support as always, man.
Nice.
Go ahead, D. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I wanted to transition a little bit because we were talking about SEC talent, right? And I wanted to talk to Amon because Amon's one of those guys that helped bring some of that SEC talent to the ACC, could have gone there. And talk about a larger trend, Pete, because I know you're a big draft guy like me. And I saw this tweet from Bruce Feldman yesterday, and it caught my attention, which is Daniel Jeremiah, for those who don't know, he is a great draft analyst, to me the best. He's a former scout, talks to all these execs, all the GMs. He's like a real NFL guy. He's not like one of these just internet scouts. And he does a top 50 of his top 50 players, which usually is matches the overall top 50 pretty close. And he had only 2 SEC players in his top 20. 10 Big Ten players in that top 20, 3 from the Big 12, and Miami had 3 themselves with Messidor. Actually, Miami had 4. So this is wrong. Miami had 4 in the top 50. They had Bain, Messidor, Mawanoa, and then Keontae Scott was at 46. So Miami had 4. Oh, sorry, this is the top 20. Maybe 4 in the top 50. Sorry, 3 in the top 20. So the talent it seems to be rolling out of the SEC a little bit. I want to just roll through this top 50. Just you guys interrupt me when you have thoughts because this draft season, I'll roll through it quick, but I just wanted to kind of like get a gauge on where talent's coming from. I won't go through every player in depth, but just kind of when you guys have thoughts, go ahead and interrupt me. But when you look at this list, Mendoza, Big Ten, but actually an ACC guy because he's Cal. Then you got Notre Dame, David Bailey from Big 12, Big 10, Big 10.
Are we really doing that though? Because you did that yesterday. I don't know if I'm doing that. I don't know if I'm doing that. I don't know if I'm giving credit to the ACC for Mendoza when he became the number 1 pick in the draft in the Big Ten. I don't know.
We played him.
I don't know. Are you giving the SEC Keontae Scott? I don't think you are. If I know you,
good point. Good point.
So
I'm just saying that those guys we have to play those guys.
you feel me, Mom?
I'm just saying, Pete, we got to play those guys. Like we got to play them before they transfer. So they're guys.
I get it, but he also wasn't. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, he had a good game against us, but he wasn't what he is now.
I mean, he juked out Ruben Bain and ran for 50 yards. There's Ruben Bain, number 6.
Listen, I don't know if that's Ruben Bain's best ability in the open field like that either, though. So
there's Mansour Delane, Virginia Tech transferred to LSU.
Virginia, look, you see this? Come on.
You got Big Ten. There's Miami again. Jermod McCoy. We claim him for Oregon State. We don't claim him for SEC. We claim him for Oregon State as a Pac-12 guy. So it's actually the 2 SEC guys that are in the top 20. I think this is pretty relevant. The 2 SEC guys that are in the top 20 are Delane and McCoy, and they're both transfers. So that's pretty interesting.
Colorado, right?
Yeah. No, he's from Oregon State. The other guy was Colorado. The other Tennessee guy. So there's another one from. Then you got Big 12, Big 12, Big 10. I mean, I'm scrolling through Messidor, Cassius Howell. This is the next SEC guy. So
Messidor, the Big 12 product.
No, Cassius Howell's from
Messidor. Messidor is the Big 12 product.
But Cassius Howell's from the MAC. So the 3 SEC guys on this list are Oregon State, Virginia Tech, and the MAC until you get to CJ Allen at 22. That's interesting to me just because we know SEC recruits like 5 stars every single year. So like the fact that they're not producing, like those guys are not becoming the SEC draft picks, I think is pretty interesting. I won't go through the whole list, but I'll roll in to one of the new additions to the list. You know, all the first round guys, but then Keontae Scott just jumped in this list at number 45. So I think more people are seeing Keontae Scott and realizing this guy's an NFL player all day. So I don't know. I'll leave it to the non-homers for thoughts on the SEC's loss of talent. I'll start with Ahmad.
Man, I think the narrative has shifted, and thankful for NIL. As Mario alluded to, thankful for NIL now because a lot of these players normally would all be loaded up in the SEC on about 2 or 3 schools, and then maybe obviously like in Ohio State, but that's just what it was. If we think back a few years ago, now talent is all over the place. Texas Tech is spending. Just look at the first round guys. I mean, almost all those guys would be in the SEC. So it's good to see, honestly, that it's almost like more parity. You got a lot more schools who could make a run in the playoffs or get in the playoffs now just because they are able to acquire talent at whatever their market or whatever budget they have to spend. They can do it. So it's good to see. That's really all I have for it, honestly.
Well, let me ask you a follow-up on that, Ahmad, because I'm not asking you to snitch on anybody, but when you came out in 2016, was that pre-NIL, as Mario called it, a situation that was allowing big-time players that you might have played with, played against, played in all-star games with, whatever, to go to the SEC, in your opinion?
Yeah, 100%. 1,000%, actually. 1,000%. It's real. Like, I mean, few schools got caught, where there's bags of, money, whatever the case may be, right? Some people slipped up, but in my opinion, like for me personally, like, coming from the family I came from, I didn't need the money. Like my dad was always working, into like rental properties and just always hustling in my eyes. So that my mom always worked. So I didn't, honestly, in my mind, I was like, I know that's what it is, but I don't want to choose a school based off a financial, like, quick incentive, right? That's obviously why I went to Miami for free, by the way, with a brand new coach, rebuild, no indoor, because like I truly want to, choose a school. But was that an option on the table? Of course. I just, it's just come down to who you are. Everyone's different. Some people, hey, I'll go there and I'll still go to the NFL. I just get an extra, 50, 60, whatever it is, a car, whatever. And then some guys like, myself, like, nah, I'm going to go to a school I truly want to go to that I feel like I can fit in the right way, develop,
so wholesome, such a wholesome decision.
Yeah, but hey, looking back, I should have just took the cash and still went to Miami. Hey, I just realized they couldn't do it.
Live and you learn, man.
Oh my gosh, I should have went back in time. I would have took the cash, man, and then still flipped to Miami. That's what I should have did.
Man, I don't really, when we look at the Big Ten and the SEC, you obviously know that the talent's more spread out now. Sorry about the dog. That it's not all in the SEC, but at the same time, I don't know if it's a one-year thing where it's going to be that different between the Big Ten and the SEC necessarily. I just will say this: this is not just now that we know what the numbers are, but we watched Bama and Georgia this year, and we said all season long they don't have the same freakazoids running around on that field. We said that from week one, pretty much on both of them, and that came out to be pretty true. Georgia only has 8 guys going now to the combine. They will have big draft picks, both of them and Bama, but it's not that same thing without a doubt. And then LSU had a down year. A lot of talent going into it, but down year, which is going to hurt the stock of a lot of guys. So that didn't play into it. Ole Miss was really, I think, Chambliss driven, and the way the offense operated, it wasn't so much that they had these crazy top picks all over the place. But that's my perspective of it.
And they joke about it now. I mean, just think about Alabama's roster and like who would have probably been on different teams with NIL. Like you had Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Tua, Jalen Hurts, Najee Harris. I mean, and that's just an offense. Passer, I mean, you had like literally like 30 guys that probably play in the NFL. And just imagine the amount of schools that would have probably been trying to poach, back channel.
They wouldn't have even gone there. They would have, Bama wouldn't have spent that much money on 4 top guys like that in the same class of the same position. Yeah. They wouldn't have even ended up at Bama together because someone else would have paid them more than that to be the number 1 guy in their class.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Can you imagine 40 G's for a 5-star? I mean, I know everybody's price is different, but like women's basketball players on the Canes, which are not a dominant program, make more than that, And so, like, can you imagine 40 G's for a 5-star football player? Is in like this is like 5 years ago. It's not even like that long ago. It's crazy to really to consider.
We had no money, D, back then. I'm telling you, we had to get it how we can, on the side or whatever. But there was, you couldn't get a meal. You know what I'm saying? You got caught. Someone giving you something. You're in Craig's office, compliance office, answering questions about what is this and can you prove that is yours or your parents bought it for you. Like that's just what it was. Nowadays it is what it is. But yeah, back then, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, 40,000 in 2016, 2017 is damn near like 100,000 now, like a quick NIL deal.
Hey, I gotta say, man, the U Compliance Twitter account followed me out of the blue yesterday, and it's a dormant account from 2 years ago. I got the heebie-jeebies, man. Something started crawling down my neck, man.
Hey, Pete, that's the worst thing outside of missing a workout in college football back in the day is getting the invite to that compliance office and got to answer some questions. That's the worst thing you can do. I promise you.
Appreciate you, Lion Kane. Listen to a lot of Kane's podcasts. Here's the only one I really look forward to listening to. I appreciate you, Lion Kane. But yeah, man, I mean, I think when the good thing about this playoff is like, you could really see where the talent is across the country. Like, I feel like in the past, you'd really find out like in the championship, like remember when Alabama played Notre Dame and you saw real quick, like that was with Manti Te'o. And it was like, wow, these are really like 2 different levels. You watch the game and you're like, whoa, like I didn't realize that they were so far ahead. Playoff, you kind of know like where everybody stands because you got to play so many games. You got to play everybody. And we saw Ole Miss, which I thought was, like you said, Pete, kind of carried by the quarterback. They had a good running back, good coach, whatever. But then you look at Texas A&M, I thought better. And then Ohio State, really, really good. but you see the different talent levels and you see how Miami stacks up. And I think coming out of that, my big takeaway is we were toe to toe or better than everybody when it comes to talent. And there was no one hiding behind the door because we played Notre Dame too. So they were the best team that didn't get in. We played them and beat them too. So we saw it all, man. And I think Miami stacked up really good. And now you're seeing that result in the draft with 4 guys in the top 50 on this list, 3 in the top 20. And I hope it plays out that way because Keontae Scott, Amon, I don't know what you think about him, but to me, that's an NFL guy all day.
Hey, listen, speaking of group chats, right, and being in the dark Twitter world, I was one of the ones that was going to war for Keontae Scott before the season. People were sending me his PFF grade at corner and it was like 50 something and he can't cover and all that. He got what they said, it ran him out of Auburn. He had to go to Houston and now he's at Miami. Why are we taking him? He's a Jag. One of them would say he's a lemon. First off, he was playing out of position, right? I mean, if you're an outside receiver, but you're playing slot, vice versa. Like there's positions within the room, right? We know corner, nickel, technically the same thing, but different skill set, right? Obviously, if you look at his film when he was at nickel, he was a lot more productive, a lot more downhill. He's a tackler. He's played big guy in a run fit. So I saw the upside, and I think he just needed the stage to prove it again. And that's what he did. He went out there, he balled out for us, was a great asset. And I think he even got better as the year went on. Obviously had the injury where question mark, is he going to return? Comes back, and helps drive that playoff run, making game-changing plays game after game. So, great addition. I think he's the best nickel corner in college football going to the pros. So I know it's a position now. So if teams in the NFL are looking for a specific, like, hey, I need this nickel position filled, team like the Ravens or, one of those defensive-minded teams who value that type of thing, I do think I don't know if he goes in the first round. He has that type of talent, but I could see him being like definitely a top 50 player for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious what he runs because I think he could go 4.4, maybe a 4.3. He's a track guy from high school, so he can run a little bit. That'd be, I think, huge for him. But yeah, it was all that stuff. What I understood happened with him, and we said at the time of the show when we got him, was he was a great nickel. He was on basically the same track he is now as far as going to the NFL. Then they paid him a lot of NIL money to stay. And they're like, well, if we're paying all this guy this money, we got to put him outside. And
they tried the NFL approach there. Say, nickel's worth. This is what the nickel's worth. So we're paying him like a boundary corner, right? That's what it seemed like.
What you're saying makes perfect sense because I didn't understand like if he was playing nickel and great in a run fit. Like Auburn don't recruit enough DBs. Like why you move him to outside corner when that's like literally moving a safety to corner and then wondering why he's getting beat. Like he's not a press man corner. Like that's not his game. He's off in zone coverage, can come in a run fit, make a tackle. But I think sometimes to your point, coaches overthink this thing. And yeah, using an NFL model for college players kind of crazy.
Let me follow up on this because you had these conversations about Keontae Scott and obviously you were proven right. I'm going to ask you, as someone who goes against, defensive backs, how would you, just forgetting the player names, just tell me body type wise, skill set wise, like if you had to put this together of your starting DBs, what it would look like what you'd be looking for at each spot?
If I'm going outside corner, a boundary corner, I'm looking for someone of the like Mike Jack, right? 6'2", 200 pounds, almost like Xavier Lucas, bigger corners. Because usually in the boundary as an X receiver, you're usually 6'2 plus. You're a bigger body receiver. You're not the fastest, you're not as quick laterally, but you're gonna use your body. So
and before boundary, you mean the where you're lining up on the hash
side of the field. Every time the ball's on the hash, whatever opposite side of the side that has the most space. I'm going to the smaller side of the field, right? I'm looking for big body corners there, that can be physical, kind of like your Damari Browns, right? Xavier Lucas, that type of style, Mike Jackson. In the field is more of your OJ Frederics, right? Not the biggest guys, right? But he has ball skills, can play in space. Like I said, when you're in the field, it's a lot of room, a lot of release points for the receivers, right? You can go inside, outside. You can do a lot. When you're in a boundary, it's kind of predictable based if it's 3x1, 2x1. You can kind of have an idea. That's why I don't get some of these corners don't be understanding route concepts, because if it's 3x1, you can only do like 3 routes. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm looking in the field. I'm looking for a guy that maybe like 6'1", 6'2", a little bit lighter, and that can like move laterally like really well, because it's a lot more field you have to cover. And then obviously in the nickel, smaller guy, maybe 5'10", 5'11", tough as nails, can probably throw up 225 like 15 times. You know, I'm looking for someone strong that can, again, be like in a run fit, that's aggressive, who's kind of like a crash out. That's kind of what I'll be looking at in that position. You got to have you got to be a little off the, you know, run into some tight ends and pulling guards every now and then. So that's how I would do it if I'm a coach building a roster, man. You need big corners, man. That's the name of the game. If you look at a lot of the NFL players that are being selected in the first round, almost all of them are 6'1", 6'2" corners nowadays. And that's just what it is. You know, Sauce Gardner, Tariq Woolen, like Pat Surtain. Oh, the biggest one yet. I almost forgot. If I'm a coach, right, and this for any coach listening, I'm recruiting all DBs who have prior experience at receiver. I promise you. The ball skills and the natural hands is just different. You'll get a lot more turnovers. You get a lot more PBUs when you have a former.
I don't know. What do they say, man? They say if you switch from receiver, that means you couldn't catch it, right?
Yeah. So, but the thing is, Pete, the thing is, if you drop,
you're still better. Your ball skills are still going to be better than the average, because the average defensive back.
DBs can't catch at all. It's like zero. They can't catch, as we've seen some of our guys, you know, who just played DB growing up. A lot of them got brick hands, right? But then you got your Bryce Fitzgeralds, right? Guys that play both ways, actually can be a legit receiver. May not have the best hands of, you know, everyone on the team, but as you see the opportunities come their way, they make the most of it a lot more times than they don't. So as a receiver, you drop, let's say, 5 passes, you suck. You know, as a DB, you drop 5 passes, that's 5 PBUs.
Yeah.
You know, you're All-American, right? So that's kind of how I see it. So some guys who play receiver who, you know, iffy a little bit, but they got great ball skills, they usually switch the corner at some point, whether it's high school or little league or college. But that's what I would do, man. I'm looking for DBs with receiver experience.
So OJ fits that bill. I know he dropped some INTs this year, but he'll catch them. I think he's going to have a good year this year. He's one of those guys. Joel says, Weiss' law partner is Scott's agent. He thought 4th round midseason. Now he's feeling 2nd. Playoff run help big time. Yeah, it sounds right. Especially coming back from that injury, man. Because you know, NFL, like dealing with injuries and having injury, like that's a big factor in the evaluation that people don't see. I know that you talk to scouts for your clients. This is a big deal.
You can't, I mean, it's not only that he came back, but there was no drop off in his game. He looked like he was, so there's not going to be a question of, remember, they would have, if he didn't come back or Miami didn't make it to the playoffs, you really would have had to see him at that Senior Bowl week. But there still would have been, hey, how's he going to respond to that's an injury that lingers. And now, I mean, he's been able to kind of get those concerns out of the way, and it's not even going to be a question now.
By the way, some comments about how JoJo would have been corner. I missed the JoJo automatic, like 5,000 views on every segment. So we should do a segment for NC State fans, like JoJo at cornerback ? I said he was a corner, by the way. He used to play corner at Central. He was good. He get interceptions for touchdowns. Like he was good at it. That's what I thought he was going to be for a while.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good athlete, man. He could play. It's just I was in a space, funny enough, and I was telling people, I'm like, look, the kid can play, right? I don't think he can't catch. It's just one of those things as a receiver, like you have to get the ball early in the game. You just got to touch it. Like whether it's a screen, a quick little something, you just got to get the feel. I don't know why. It's just like almost like a superstition. But once you get that first catch, that first big explosive play early in the game, like it changes your whole energy, your mindset. Like you feel more involved in the game, like you have an impact. So I think he's one of those guys, right? Like you got to get him the ball early, even if it's a quick hitch, you know, first drive of the game, just so he can touch the football. And then from there, like that confidence just kind of spirals, and then, you know, they start hooping. So it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, to see him go to NC State and, you know, have a great year, great, you know, finish up his career there and do great things. I think he has all the talent. It's just, I think our situation with Malachi Tony coming in and, you know, being an elite talent and just, you know, getting a lot of the targets, I think other receivers may, well, not others because we still got production from other guys, but a lot of guys may still feel like they're like out of the loop in a way, where you may get thrown in the game, let's say second quarter for like a play, then you're pulled out. You may go back in the fourth, right? You're not really in the game flow. So I think that's just unfortunate. I mean, what can you do? You have a guy like Malachi Tony, 100 catches from a slot. I mean, what can you do? You can't really get in the rhythm. So your best bet, I can understand where, let me go to another school and try to be that guy. And, that's just what it is. So, I think you'll have a good career. Maybe switch a DB at one point, maybe play both ways. You never know. You never know.
Good question here from Brian Lawrence about who's the best defensive back you played against and why. I know you said Mike Jackson as far as Miami, who has turned out pretty good in the NFL. He's one of the best in the NFL still. Is he the best you played, period? Like, who are some of the best guys you played?
Man, I said Mike Jackson because Mike Jackson wasn't a holder. There's a difference. Like, there's a lot of DBs like in the ACC that I've played and they hold a lot. I ain't gonna say names, but they do a lot of holding. So I don't think that's like, in some of those guys not even in the league no more, kind of proving the point that they weren't really that good. They just like grabbing and getting away with little stuff like that. But Mike Jack, to me, like every day in practice, we made it a point to go against each other. And at that time, he wasn't like a big name, right? A lot of Miami fans probably wasn't big on this guy named Michael Jackson, right? But just him being a big corner, he was like 6'2", 200 some pounds. Like, I liked it because he gave you that work, right? It's hard you're not going to just run through a guy that's that big, right? So you got to actually work your technique. You got to be elusive. And he was quick too. So I always knew. I mean, I told him after 2017, I think he was draft eligible. I remember sitting, I was like, bro, you should go to the draft. Because
he did a great year that year.
He led the country in picks, or it was like right up there.
He was going crazy. And I'm like, bro, go to the league. And then, obviously came back, him and, Quan, they all came back. But yeah, Mike Jack, I mean, he just always had that talent in him. And I just knew once he got the opportunity, I thought it was going to be with the Seahawks, just being a defensive type team. Obviously, he ended up, being great at the Panthers. But I don't know. It was always him. I always said him. DJ Ivy was the other one. And then Trajan Bandy was really good as well, being like a smaller guy. Like, he was very technical, smart, good with his hands, quick feet. But Ivy was like your long arm corner who can run with you stride for stride. I know Miami fans, right, have a few bad plays or whatever that they always bring up. But if you just look at him overall and why he's still on the NFL roster, is not because he's trash. I can tell you that. The kid can play. Some things just unfortunate, whether it's coaching or just a scheme. Some things just, you kind of, you get the bad end of the stick. But those three, I would say, are like the best. And I went up against like guys like Greedy Williams and things like that. I like those guys are cool, but guys, in my opinion, were better. Yeah, Mike Jackson would be like the best one in my opinion.
He's the highest paid, so I mean, it's not like your opinion was not validated by what happened down the road.
Yeah.
One thing I want to touch on with that is tall corners. You mentioned two of them with Jackson and DJ Ivy, these long corners. You talked about just in general how you like long corners. I think fans sometimes get too caught up in like PFF and some stuff like that. So like, I'll give you an example. You talked about Keontae Scott, but in the spring, we brought in all these corners, right? We brought in
Carnley.
We brought in Lucas. We brought in Charles Brantley from Michigan State. We brought in O'Connor. We brought in Emmanuel Carnley from where did we get him from? He was
Arizona.
From Arizona. Big, tall guy. And he kind of, he didn't play as much. I think he got beat out really by Lucas and O'Connor. So he's like, all right, I'm bouncing. He went to Virginia. People were like, so Miami fans were like, this guy sucks. He's just a tall, good for nothing guy. His PFF grades suck. He ended up getting another bag from Washington to play there. He's probably going to go pro after that. So like these tall guys, we have our own tall guys, so he didn't fit here. But those tall guys are going to get a chance because of what they bring. Meanwhile, Charles Brantley, who we brought in, who everybody was fired up about because he had the best PFF grades, he couldn't play. Like, he couldn't get on the field because he was too small. So the PFF grade for him, which everybody was fired up about, I'm sure you saw it on Twitter, it didn't matter. Meanwhile, our tall guys all played above him. Jabari Antoine, who's a freshman, who was tall, played above him. And then Carnley, who left, got another bag. So, like, the height, you can't underestimate that. I don't care what PFF says.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're a bigger corner, like, I mean, I don't think you're gonna have the most perfect PFF grade, right? I mean, you have your flaws, you might be a little slow, laterally or whatever the case may be. But overall, I don't really get in too much into the PFF thing, like especially at corner, just because like so much of it could be scheme if you're playing off coverage all the time, giving up, things underneath, right? I think that goes against your grade. Stuff like that. I mean, I don't really get too much. I turn on the tape, man. I'm looking at, full game clips, skimming through, like, what are you doing when the ball's not coming your way, right? Are you fit in the run fit, even if you don't make the tackle, right? Because some people just click on highlights and then you watch a highlight, but there's a lot more plays that can kind of tell you about a player for outside of like highlights. So me personally, I just once I see a guy's like committed. And like I'm like, I really look up different games. For example, like Darren Mensah, like I'll go watch like a full game versus like Clemson just to see the other plays that we will see if we're watching the game as fans, right? The regular play that may be a misread or misthrow or a sack, right? I want to see all those ups and downs to really give me a good idea of the player, not just a few deep throws on the field, whatever the case may be. So, yeah. To your point though, PFF, yeah, fans. I think people use it as more of a trolling thing. If your player has a good PFF grade, you're going to use it to say, hey, he's the best. If it's not, you're going to,
there's just not real context. Like I always tell people, and
yeah,
because it happens at the NFL level too. Like it happens with, fans and saying, man, this guy's terrible. Look at his PFF grade. But then like their grades are so different within the room in terms of what the position coaches are grading. Because the person grading the game, it's not to say that the person grading the game doesn't know the game of football, doesn't understand football, and doesn't understand it at a high level, but they don't know what the player's assignment is a lot of times on that particular play. So they may think that what they're doing is wrong, or they got, maybe as an offensive lineman, you get beat, but you don't understand that, well, the whole line was supposed to shift a certain way, and the guy next to him didn't get that communicated to him or didn't understand what was supposed to happen, and then you look bad. Right. Yeah. The same thing happens in pass coverage all the time. Or maybe the wide receiver runs the correct route and the quarterback had it wrong.
Yep. I was just literally going to say that, you got plenty of things where, quarterbacks off on a read or, whatever. There's even routes where you're essentially a decoy, right? They may send you on a deep post route just to flank out a tight end, on a corner route. I've done plenty of those, so does that go against your PFF grade? Does that go as a loss if, let's say you weren't even in the read and a quarterback throws it your way, you weren't expecting the ball? Like, is that am I a bad receiver now, or is that just a miscommunication? Like, so I don't really get, but to your point, like, I don't think a lot of people know this. Maybe they do, but yeah, coaches, like your position coach, like when you come in the morning, at least when I was there, they're going to have like a chart. You're going to have all the receivers in the room and you get graded. Like your game day clip, like the game you just played, you could have went and had 100 yards. And you may come in there and see like a C- grade or whatever because you missed your run blocks or you ran the wrong route 3 times in a game. You did a lot of stuff. So there's a lot more context than just like the overall scheme. And yeah, your coach is going to grade you every day, whether it's practice, games. Like you're going to get a legit grade based on every single play, not just your like highlight plays. You're going to get, if you play 60-some snaps, they're watching all 60-some snaps to see plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, plus minus. And you might have some up downs if you messed up a lot. So that's just how it is. So
you never had those though, right?
Nah, man. I think the one game I had 100 yards and like 3 or 4 drops one game. I didn't get no up downs though. Coach was just like, "Are you all right, bro?" like I'm good.
Out of character there.
Yeah, he was like, he was just like, "You all right? Like, you good, brother?" Like, he didn't even punish me like that. But I seen one player, man, he had like 200 and some up downs, bro, at the practice. Like that's a lot of up downs, man. That's a lot of up downs.
After practice, too.
After practice, I'm like, damn, that's a lot of missed assignments, man.
On those deep code routes, are you expected to run full speed on those?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to sell it. I remember one I didn't sell, and it probably would have been a touchdown. Malik gonna kill me, but we ran one against Virginia Tech 2017. And it was when Braxton threw it to Malik, and it was a completed pass. But if you go back and watch, I literally got the wrong signal, and I was like running like an over route.
Oh, so you brought the guy over there?
Yeah, but I was supposed to run a lot faster, but I was trying to pace myself because I knew it was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be play action. Malik rolls out, so I'm trying to stay in line, so I'm not running as fast. but for whatever reason, it was actually like the fake play. So Malik went out for a pass. He did like he tossed it to like Braxton or whatever, and he took off almost like a play from the Super Bowl. The Eagles did something similar, but we did it early in the game. And it was completed, but I literally got a loaf on that play because I was just kind of cruising, and we would have had a touchdown if I just ran hard ass like I was supposed to across the field full speed. I would have pulled the safety. Safety saw me jogging. He knew something was up. He looked, saw Malik, and broke immediately right to Malik and tackled him as soon as he made the catch. So.
Oh man, so what we got here going on in the comments? We got Flava say, shout out to Dr. Mullane's kid classes. KIN classes.
I had Dr. Mullane as well.
Hey, shout out to him, man. Hey, if you know, you know, man. Them kin class is cool.
Wait, what's kid class?
Like what would you
Kinesiology.
Yeah,
that was
like I don't even know I don't even know what to call it.
Kinesiology, excuse
me.
Kinesiology. It's one of the sport admin.
It's
like the prefix they use for those classes.
I was gonna say because it wasn't even part of like my major. It was just one of those classes you have to take, especially like when you're freshman, sophomore, or whatever. It's like mandatory. You kind of go through those little.
Dr. Susan Mullane. That class was tough, man. That was a tough. I'm trying to think of what class I was. It was like sports leadership or something like that, man. I'm trying to remember that class.
I will say I didn't have no bad professors, man. I give the person who would he play personnel or athlete, what do you call it? The person that
advisor, your an academic advisor.
Meech
and
Millie,
my man.
Meech and Millie, man, they never put me in the wrong classes, man. I appreciate them for that.
You guys had it tough, man, because like bigger public schools, you could hide guys. You guys are right there front and center. It's small. There's not really that many places.
Small classes, yeah. Very small.
Yeah, you can't really. I mean,
those class checkers. Hey, those class checkers were on you too.
Hey, look, I'm the type of person. I'm not even gonna try to figure out how can I beat the system, right? Some guys trying to figure out like maybe if I go to class for 5 minutes and leave. Like I'm the type. I'm there. I'm just gonna be there the whole time. Like why dip out and all that? But yeah, them class checkers, they play no games, man. Baez, he'll be out there. Then we always have some random like intern person that'll just pop up out the blue, or they'll open your door and poke their head in. And to your point, it's a small class, so you'll see like 5 big guys, just their front row or just kind of scattered, But nah, man, it was funny, man. Them class checkers. They'll have you nervous, man, and we'll be texting each other, right? Guys who's always trying to skip out a little bit. You see that class checker like 10 minutes before. Hey, yo, come on, bro, he's here. You see guys on bikes and stuff
running over from
trying to get there before the class start.
That was me, man. I wasn't even an athlete and I was dipping out on classes, but you got that Jamaican thing, man. I remember when I was at my law firm, we had like 5 people that were born on the island of Jamaica. And I'm like, man, you guys are beasts. Like what's coming out of this island? And they're like, we don't go to school. They hit us.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, my dad's always been big in education. Like, he went to college and all that stuff. So, I understand the importance of, obviously everyone want to go to college and stuff, but just, I try to like at least learn something while I'm there. Right. I'm not just showing up to do nothing. Right. I try to do my part, at least take some notes, try to maximize. Obviously we all want to go to NFL, all that good stuff, but my dad's always been big on education. Plus my mom a teacher, so it's kind of hard to just not show up, right? Especially in middle school, high school, right? Teachers know teachers that can't be it's so embarrassing for like a parent to have their kid and you're a teacher, to have your kid acting crazy and you're a teacher. It's just kind of like that unwritten, like
my mom's a teacher too, and she taught at the school that I went to when I was younger, so I know I know what you're talking about.
You can't do anything.
I wasn't really a troublemaker, I gotta say. When I got Twitter, that's when I became an online troublemaker, but I really wasn't that. But
I feel you.
I know what you're talking about though. You always have someone watching over your shoulder. It feels like the third eye.
Yeah, they're not gonna tell you, but it's like that indirect kind of stare when you're in class laughing in the back with your friends or kiki and like, I know that's not a mom back there Oh, and it's like, you know what they're saying? Like, I'll tell your mama, like, chill out. I know your mom, but it's like that. All right.
You know what, though? It sets you up now to be the businessman you are with college hunks, Holland Junk, right? Doing your thing. You know, you never do your plugs. Get a free plug-in. Plug yourself, man.
I get so tied in with the U, man. I forget, you know. But yeah, man. Anyone looking for move-in junk in Miami, you know, Miami-Dade, you know, please call us, College Hunks. You can go collegehunks.com. You know, you can get a free quote. Also, we do, you know, if you have inventory, you can always upload your inventory. You can get a quote that way. So you don't have to talk to anyone. I know people are busy. Everyone's hustling. You don't got time to be on the phone with a call center. You can always get a free inventory quote online as well.
Shout out.
Plug the burner. Hey, 82 I'm gonna drop it on Twitter. I'm gonna comment on the show under the burner. So the people, you can get the unfiltered commentary sometimes, you know, my page, you know, I can't be talking crazy on it too much, you know, even though I don't talk crazy like that in general, but I'll put the burner on there for the people who want to see. It's pretty obvious, actually.
You're a businessman. You can't have all that out there. You have the two sides.
Yeah, man. I can't be in spaces, you know, midday, right, on my regular page. People like, you know, what's going on, brother? Like, you got stuff to do, or you just I got to mix it up a little bit. Got to mix it up.
Yeah, I'm on the spaces on the burner too. I don't really post on the burner. I just do that to kind of listen and hang out. But hey, man, I always appreciate you. And we'll talk next week, man. Go Canes.
Yes, sir, man. Always, man. Go Canes.
Later, Mom.
By the way, talking about all that, you know, junk that they're handling at College Hunks, Holland Junk, and we got a lot of people that are involved in businesses that use a lot of scrap metal. Contractors, I know we've got contractors listening. If scrap metal disposal is becoming a hassle on your demolition job sites, contact Scrap City, scrap-city.com. Scrap metal should slow your demolition job down. They make it easy for you, deliver containers directly to your site, handle the haul off. Your crew can stay focused on what they got to do, and the scrap metal can get up out of there fast, reliable, and built for contractors. Again, container delivery, job site pickup, responsible recycling. Call Scrap City today, 954-330-9472, or you can go to the location, Pompano Beach or Delray Beach, and support our boy, always in the comments, watching the show today, Josh Sarnoff, huge CanesInSight fan, who be happy to take your scrap metal, turn it into cold, hard cash for you. Win, 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 win. Joel says, scrap metal to those hotties. He likes the other Scrap City reads with the girls in the bikinis. So we got to save those. We can't use them every day. We gotta spread those ads out. But yeah, recycling is beautiful at scrap-city.com.
So want to talk some recruiting here, D?
Let's get into it.
So offer went out. Makai Brown, 6'7", 230 from Connecticut. Miami's trying to get the top player. Well, actually, you know what? They got the top player from Delaware last year. So we'll see if they can get the top player in the state of Connecticut this year with Makai Brown. Very interesting body type here. 6'7", 230. I mean, this is a top 50 to 75 player in the country, depending on where you look. High 4-star recruit. But again, as I pull up the highlights here, D, two-sport guy, will have the basketball stuff ready as well. Can he put on weight and potentially move inside down the line?
First of all, and I didn't put two and two together as to who the commenter was. This guy, 220 Greenwich, is a different name on CanesInsight.com. He has been pushing Makai to me for a year, and I shared the name right when you did. So trust me, I passed the name along. Thankfully, we got this offer out the door. This guy to me is awesome. I mean, P, we know how we like to operate here, measurables, multi-sport guys. I could care less about the competition. The competition is not making this guy 6'7". It's not making him get off the ball like this. And we'll watch his basketball highlights here in a second. But this dude is super talented. I mean, you can just see how he dominates. And yes, the competition is not that good, but what's he doing with that competition? That's Greenwich, Connecticut. That's, a lot of people from New York with money live in Greenwich. The great Vince McMahon, I believe he lives in Greenwich, Connecticut, right there. The billionaire former owner of the WWE. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, if you have the talent, you have the talent. I want to say that Christian Wilkins from Clemson went to prep school in Connecticut, I believe. So, I mean, these guys, there's just not that many guys with this profile walking around, and they usually are trying to play, professional basketball. Mekhi Brown, also a basketball player. We'll talk about those highlights in a second, but the football to me is extremely impressive. Number 54 player in the country on the composite, number 6 edge, Greenwich Country Day, 6'7", 230. I buy that ranking 100%. I think this guy is up there with some of the guys we're recruiting. Needs coaching. That's why you have the great coaching that we have. But I think the tools are outstanding. Here's some insider stuff with our guy 220 Greenwich. It says, kid is a great athlete, beast on the basketball court.
Hey, I'll say this, D. With his height, and we always talk about the guy who could be coaching these guys there, and if they choose to come to Miami, he's about as close as I've seen in terms of body type to what Jason Taylor. I mean, he's tall. He's tall like that.
Yeah, heavier, probably.
Heavier. Yeah, heavier.
He looks like he's like a 260 kind of guy. Not 260, but at least 240.
Which is why I was like, man, imagine this guy playing inside on pass rushing situations.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell went to the same school, recruited him. He's got get off, like our guy Nick West from Papa's Alternative Brew said in the comments. He's got get off. He's got some lateral too. He's not just straight line. You see him with some inside moves. We'll pull up his basketball highlights in a second, man. But I am very, very high on this player. He's got a full slate of visits lined up. Maybe 220 Greenwich could give us some more insider info on the recruiting process, but he's got big-time schools all over the SEC and Big Ten that he's visiting in the spring. Has not set the Miami visit yet, just got offered, but I think that's a natural visit. And this is somebody from an area in the Northeast. So we'll talk about some more Northeast guys in a second. But this is an area that Miami can do damage with. There's no schools in the Northeast that are local. There's cities. Most of Miami's student base is from the Northeast, as you see right here. The headmaster of his school, the kid is currently a student at the U. So it's a natural transition to go from this New York area, northern New Jersey, Connecticut, whatever, New York City, to Miami. It's just a natural fit.
Look at this.
Oof. Come on. So, I mean, I think this is the kind of guy we need to be recruiting. Big city basketball players on the defensive line that have that natural height and athleticism you can't coach and that are already used to being in the city. SEC's always going to have an advantage with defensive linemen because the Southeast produces the most. So they'll always have that advantage. You have to find edges. And I think one edge is recruiting guys like this, guys like Marquise Lightfoot, guys like Justin Scott, who are just athletes from, maybe the basketball court that are making the transition that would want to come to another big city in Miami. And then you put a couple highlights there. He has a lot. I mean, full court, just really, really impressive dunks. I mean, this guy gets off the floor. He's pretty thick. He's not a skinny guy. I think he's heavier than
I like the game highlights. I like the game highlights better than just the pure dunks, honestly. All these football guys can dunk. I want to see how he's moving, with the ball in his hands and stuff like that.
For sure. But yeah, man, I think this is a big time offer, and it fits the direction that we believe that Miami needs to go with to make sure our defensive line stays elite, because the reason why Miami went to the championship this year is because our defensive line was elite. There he is, 6'7", 240 right now. I mean, that's great size. There you go, P. Look at him get up, baby. This guy could go. I don't care what the competition is. This guy's moving.
Yeah, I like that they're playing him up top on defense as well, like in that zone. Both times there, he was the one. I mean, they're not just sticking him down in the middle as the 5-man,
right?
And telling him to be big, which is what I am impressed with.
So yeah, interesting offer there. We'll see how that one develops. We'll keep our eye on it. I would love to get more involved with that player. I think he's just like those Chicago guys. Like, we talk about all these guys, but those Chicago guys and this kid stand out to me as far as just like upside, fit. It makes sense. So we'll see. I suspect we'll push to get a visit done there, but not the only guy in that northern, that New Jersey. So he's a Connecticut, New York suburb. We got another guy from a New York suburb on the New Jersey side getting an offer, and he's at a historic powerhouse at Don Bosco, and that is the linebacker Makahi Allen, 6'1", 220, out of Don Bosco, number 12 linebacker in America. 4-star player, 11.4 in the 100. So, I mean, he's not a sprinter, but he can run a little bit for a bigger linebacker. And this is a different level of competition. Now, we're talking about real deal competition at Don Bosco. And this is somebody that Coach Heatherman likes. Obviously, he was at Rutgers, so he knows this area very well. He's got a full slate of visits. We got to.
It might be pronounced Mackay. It might be pronounced Mackay also.
It could be. It could be. Let's call him Mr. Allen. But yeah, he's going to South Carolina on the 21st. Then he's got Texas A&M. Then he's got Texas. Then he's got Florida State. Then he's got Miami. Then he's got Illinois. So full slate, SEC, ACC, Big Ten.
Before Illinois came up there, I was going to say one of those schools doesn't sound like the other. The others there, but
it's on the way. It's on the way down.
Yeah. No, he looks like a legit linebacker. He looks like a good athlete, D, but he looks like a guy who grew up playing linebacker, if that makes sense.
100%. You see him play on the edge here too, but he's versatile. I think he also played safety earlier in his career as well, if I'm understanding his huddle correctly. And I mean, look, this is the Meadowlands right here. I mean, this is big time football with Don Bosco. This is not like prep school ball that you're going to have to adjust to the level. Like maybe like a Samson Okunlola who came from a Northeast city but took a second to adjust. I think this guy, you get him, he'll be ready to play right away. I like New Jersey players. Miami's always done well when they had New Jersey players. You would look at the 2001 championship team. I believe there were 4 New Jersey starters on there, maybe 5. This year, Mo Toure from New Jersey. Alex Bauman, I know is going to get a lot of criticism, but he started all year. He's from New Jersey. New Jersey is a good football state and a natural fit at the U. I mean, how many guys did you know, Pete, when you were at UM that were from this area? Just people that live there.
I mean, that's most of the school. That's most of the school. And can't forget Mike Badgley was a great Cane from New Jersey there. They were recruiting them for so long. They had so many of the guys, Jamie Gordonier
and Joku.
And Joku, obviously. I mean, some of the offensive linemen. Hayden Mahoney, he was a Jersey guy, right?
Yep. I like seeing this guy on kickoff. That's Marquise Lightfoot's one of those guys that was a big time recruit that was on kickoff. That shows you that the guy cares about football.
I love these drone shots.
Yeah.
I've been seeing them come up a lot more recently here.
That's how you know the school is legit. They got drones. So look at that field, man. Don Bosco's not messing around. Have we ever had anybody from Don Bosco? I'm sure we have. I can't recall off the top. Akwani Muhammad, another New Jersey guy. I think he's from like the Camden area, if I recall, Muhammad. But one of the top 10 in sacks this year. So
yeah,
another really good player setting up a visit. But Pete, not just guys setting up visits and taking offers, but we also have a current commit eliminating visits, and that is DeMar DeRoche.
No, DeMarcus DeRoche.
Sorry, DeMarcus DeRoche. Thank you. By the way, cool name. So we better get it right. DeMarcus DeRoche. That's a star name. I
think it's DeRoche, but maybe I
heard someone pronounce it DeRoche, and I like it. It sounds better that way. So I'm going to say it that way until someone corrects me. From Cardinal Gibbons in Fort Lauderdale. This is an early evaluation from Frank Tucker on Miami's recruiting staff, and ended up being a really, really good, fine basketball player, football player. The question with him is he going to be a tight end? Is he going to be a defensive end?
He wants to play tight end.
He wants to play tight end. I think there's enough there that he will play tight end. Seeing him at the camp, I mean, just a natural athlete. Just one of these guys that just looks good. Like just if I said, hey, you don't know who Miami's recruiting, and I said, point to the Miami recruit at this Nike camp, people are going to point to DeRoche. He just looks the part. He's so natural in everything he does. I mean, he was throwing better balls than the quarterbacks when he was playing catch. I mean, he's just one of these natural athletes. He's big. He looks like he's going to gain weight, just like a very athletic frame. Like, again, I'm a big eye test guy. And especially at these camps, when if you're Miami and you go to a camp, the guys you're getting should stand out. Like, you shouldn't need a roster to find out who we're getting. That's a bad sign. You should be able to point and say, hey, Mark Matthews, that's easy to find. DeMarcus DeRoche, easy to find. Those guys should stand out, and he certainly did. But he was going to visit Texas. He was going to visit Florida. He already had an OV locked in with Texas, but he said, I'm shutting my recruiting down.
He had multiple OVs, I think, locked in.
But he's
and he was one of the guys that I was saying the other day, like, hey, you don't have a tight ends coach in place. That's a position that he wants to play. You don't want to lose ground, so I give them credit for seemingly looks like he's locking in. Still very early. I don't like to I don't like to think that it's completely over, but yeah, that's huge.
You hear what he says here. He says, I'm shutting down my recruitment. I'm locked in with Miami. By the way, shout out to On3. Was who did the interview here? Was this Chad Simmons? Said, I'm shutting the recruitment down. I'm locked in with Miami. Miami just feels like home. They make me feel comfortable, so I just want to stay home. This week, they were just saying I'm a top priority. And this is the sentence that I think you see a lot with these recruits with Miami. Not only have they said I'm a top priority, but they are making me feel like it. I'll be back in Miami on March 5th. I'm only going to visit Miami. Also mentions Frank Tucker. He says, that's my guy. We have a great relationship. I talked to Cristobal a lot too. He's very involved in that. Means a lot. These are just some trends you're seeing as far as Cristobal's involvement, making the players feel like a top priority. When only one head coach is calling you all the time and the others aren't, what's your natural reaction going to be as a not just a kid, but as a smart person that understands, the world? You say, well, if the head coach is calling me here and he's not calling me to the other places, where am I a bigger priority? Right? That's just the impression you get. Now, the truth is our head coach is calling a lot of people. That's just what he does. But clearly he wouldn't be calling this player, this commit, if it wasn't a very important player. So I think that was a great development for the Canes because this is a big-time guy, tight end, defensive end. I mean, I think he's probably better upside at defensive end. I always want to put guys on defense, but he could definitely play tight end. Natural hands, can run like the wind, great size. Just get that athlete on campus, bulk him up, and see where it goes.
Apparently there's a new rankings update Joel is asking about here. D, we should probably I didn't realize that was the case. Maybe we do a show on that here in the next couple of days.
Yeah, Will Menzel, who is we talked about him before. I read more about him. His mom's in the airline industry, the travel industry, so he kind of moves around a lot. He was in Broward for a while. He was in Texas for a while, I believe. He's now in Arizona, in Chandler, Arizona. Miami's recruiting him very hard. Auburn's recruiting him very hard. Oregon, I think, is the favorite. But Miami loves him. He participated in the Navy All-America game and did really well there. So I think that's one of the reasons why he jumped up so much is when they saw him in person in the Navy game and he performed well. There's nothing like an in-person competitive evaluation amongst the best players to move you up and down. And I agree with that. I mean, you don't want to be stubborn and say, yeah, I had this guy here, but all the guys that we have ranked are in one place and this guy's the best guy. Those guys should move up. Marquise Lightfoot won that really rose at that time, the Army All-America game. Booker Pickett at the Under Armour's won the rose. Those guys tend to rise when they stand out in that setting. And to me, it makes sense because, you're around the best of the best.
Yep. And speaking of being around the best of the best, Canes hoops tonight, man. Jay Lucas and the boys, they need that win.
So we got some hoops stuff to get to, some baseball questions to get to. So I want to close the show with that. But first, I want to shout out my boy, Nick West, in the comments at Papa's Alternative Brew. The real Papa right there in the comments. This guy's in the trenches. He's talking about quarterback rankings out there in Southwest Oregon. In the meantime, he has an empire of alternative brew. That is Papa's Alternative Brew. Your can of calm after the chaos. So this is alternative brew, which means it's got hops, tastes like beer. I had a couple this weekend. Tastes like brew. It is non-alcoholic, but it has a buzz. 7.5 to 10 milligrams of THC. Use promo code CANES, CANES. You can order it across the country, including Florida. So order your cans, your cases. Get the party started. Get a keg of Papa's Alternative Brew. papasaltbrew.com. Promo code CANES, CANES. I'll get you 25% off again all over the country. But this is brewed in Southwest Oregon, so you know it's legit. Oregon is the spot for all this stuff. It is a science out there, and Papa's has cracked the code. That's why he's balling. Huge supporter of the Canes, huge supporter of Canes Connection, huge supporter of CanesInSight. We love Nick West, always in the chat representing, and we love Papa's Alternative Brew. Support a Cane, promo code CANES. And they do have kegs. So there you go. I need a keg of Papa's Alternative Brew. That's the CanesInSight tailgate. We'll have a keg of Papa's Alternative Brew. We'll have some ZONIN Prosecco for the ladies. We'll have some scrap metal there for some reason. We'll definitely invite the girls from Scrap City. We'll have all the food items between Eastlas and Duffy's, Lomello's on the grill. We got a lot of stuff ready for that CanesInSight tailgate, man. we'll take that one to the next level. But let's talk some hoops, Pete. What do you got?
No, I don't really have much to say about the game other than it's a must win. I mean, this is a hot Florida State team. They beat us last time around at home, which was a shock to the system at that point. Your favorites, as Joel here says, but you're kind of expecting the win on Saturday against Boston College. If you lose this one, you're not out of the field. You're pretty safely in the field at this point. But just to get that monkey off the back and beat a team that's beaten now some really good teams, even taking Duke down to the wire, beat Clemson on the road the other day, beat SMU. So this team is a good team, trending in the right direction on the road. Those late starts are always a weird one to me. Trey Donaldson back home in Tallahassee, so I expect him to play really inspired, which he plays with his heart on his sleeve every time he steps out there. But I think tonight he'll be Miami's player of the game and really get this thing going from the start. With FSU last time, and we had a flat effort, I would really say, and like that was one thing that even after that game, I remember Ernest Uday basically saying in the press conference, like, we didn't play to the standard, like we have a certain standard here, and these are ACC games, and that just can't happen. This is a rivalry game. We didn't come out with the right mentality, and I don't expect that to be the case tonight. I think this is a team that on the road has played, outside of that Clemson game, has played well on the road in these environments that they've needed. NC State obviously was a win. Virginia, I don't think the road atmosphere really rattled them at all, D. So we'll see what happens tonight. Florida State loves to shoot a ton of threes, so perimeter defense is going to be massive.
Yeah, and I think really, to me, I don't see this being, I hope it's a blowout win, right? I hope it's a blowout win. But I think with FSU, how fired up they're going to be, the emotions of this game, I think this is going to be a down-to-the-wire type of game like we've seen all year. And I think ultimately it's going to come down to late game execution. Are we going to be able to execute late? Obviously, some big mistakes last game against Virginia in terms of that, that blow-by layup late in the game, and then, of course, the foul. So that, to me, is what this is going to come down to, man. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on, but at the end of the day, if this game is not a one-score game with 2 minutes left, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, and Josh asking if it's on TV. Yes, it is. ACC Network, 9 p.m. And shout out to Reed's Law, PA. It's the Reed's Law, PA's birthday today. So happy birthday,
Rees.
Happy birthday to my dad here. Reach out to him at reedslawpa.com for your estate planning needs, corporate law, probate, wills, trusts. And look, this is not stuff we always like to think about or talk about, but you must protect the people and assets you value most. Plan your future. Schedule your free consultation today at reedslawpa.com.
Question about baseball here. Shout out to Greg. Said, where is Mario Magana? I've not seen him at all in the blowout wins. All of the freshmen have played. He's no longer on the team. So that one, unfortunately, didn't work out. He is no longer on the team. I think it's performance-wise, he made the cut. But I just think, it didn't work out once he was there. So it sucks because the guy was super big prospect. At one point, looked like he was going to go first round in the MLB draft. So baseball's a really tough sport. We see guys bounce back. So hopefully he bounces back, Miami kid, and gets it going. But at the moment, he's not at the moment, just period. He's not on the Miami Hurricanes baseball team. Question about the 3 starters this weekend against UF. I will ask JD when we have him on Thursday. Mike, if I had to guess, I would say, Goyeta pitched better than Evans, I thought, this past weekend. But I think JD would rather have Goyeta in the bullpen based on the way he talked when we interviewed him, just because he liked how Goyeta looked in the bullpen, the way the stuff played up. I'm sure he wants to get a lefty in that mix as far as the starters with Rob Evans. So if I had to guess, I would say Siskar, Evans, Darius. But you could see Siskar, Goyeta, Darius, or Siskar, Darius, Goyeta. There's a lot of different ways he could go. But if I didn't guess, I think Evans starts, but that is not guaranteed at all. And we'll know for sure when we talk to JD Arteaga, Coach JD Arteaga this weekend, powered by Sal Astorine and Cox, some of the best friends Canes baseball has. Question about Jason Lopez. Has he played for FSU? I don't think he's played at all, has he?
Basketball, I haven't seen him play, no.
I know Calvin Russell's played a little for
I saw him get in once. The problem is Syracuse hasn't had a good season at all. They've been horrible. So I believe that they are kind of in a spot where they can't play him much at the end of these games.
So he played one game against NC State, Calvin Russell, but he had 3 points.
Yeah, he had an and one.
So he's officially a multi-sport athlete. That's pretty cool. I think he's going to be good, Calvin Russell. I mean, I
do too. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a good player too at the next level.
I didn't think he's a guy that you pay the 5-star money for out of high school because he just had too much development, and we had other good receivers. Like it was too much for what you were getting immediately. But I think, is he going to be worth it in 3 years? Probably. He's going to be. I think he's a developmental guy. I think Lopez will probably be an earlier impact guy, just because he's ready made. But I think both those guys are really good players. Oh, wait a minute. I never thought about this. Bam McCain asking, what's the basketball portal window? If a player plays both sports, can they jump in? Did we just find a new loophole, Pete?
Bama McCain might have found a new loophole, yeah.
So if there's a tackle that can tie his shoes and like make a free throw.
They moved it this year because it was happening during March Madness, which was like impossible. So there's going to be like a 2-week window. Let me see what the exact dates are there. But so it's going to be April 7th to the 21st. They shortened it to a 15-day window because, again, it was happening during the tournament last year. It was like 30 to 45 days. So
yeah, that'd be interesting. I wonder if you could get that loophole for Calvin Russell. You could, because he actually played. I wonder if you could do that with just like a tackle or a tight end you want.
I mean, I don't see why you can't. But this is what I've said from the beginning, though. What's stopping guys from leaving now? Other than their NIL deals that they're going to have to claw back money from, probably.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the NCAA. Because ultimately, the NCAA didn't rule in the Lucas thing because, remember, Lucas put his name in the portal on time.
Right.
It was Wisconsin that didn't put it in. So I think it'd be more of a fight to do it after the deadline, but that doesn't mean the NCAA will ever win. They lose every case. So, well, they did win on the Aguilar eligibility thing. They lost on Trinidad. They won on Aguilar. So
yeah,
I guess they're not. So they're like 1-70. Shout out to the Miami. Go ahead.
No, I have a hard time thinking if a kid withdraws from a school and enrolls in another school and wants to play football, why can't he?
I'm with you, especially
all the other stuff. The other stuff may not make sense, but
especially if they're 6'5" or over and know how to block. Shout out to Miami Hurricane Team Store. As always, 40% off student memorabilia there at the Miami Hurricane Team Store, MiamiHTS.com, right there across the street from the light, from the SCO, from the campus. And you can go online all over the country, MiamiHTS.com, promo code INSIGHT20. There you see Wesley Basaint doing his modeling thing. I love the WB chain. That's a good one. But the whole this is the school, Miami HTS. So like you deal with Miami HTS, you were dealing with student athletes. I believe this is Alex Sosa, the catcher for the baseball team, I think. It looks like him. These are student athletes. This is a UM thing. So if you want to support the athletic department, you want to get the best gear, the most exclusive official gear, MiamiHTS.com, promo code INSIGHT20. Get 20% off your first item on top of the sales they already have. So no reason to go anywhere else besides MiamiHTS.com. All right, man. Good show today. An hour 30 right there. Basically about a roast.
Yeah. You know what we didn't talk about that was good, and we'll wrap it up after this. But my final comment from that whole thing is that I love to see both coaches go at Florida.
Oh, yeah. Florida captain. They had nothing to say. Doring was the MC. Chris Doring, former receiver, was the MC. I saw him in the background.
Who has said a bunch of stupid stuff about Miami the last 2 years with these matchups, but
Doring has. I used to go on that show when I first started doing this stuff back in before that was the only time I was ever not on just the internet, was I would do the Doring radio show with my boy Adam Reardon, big Canes fan. Hope he's still doing all right. I have to reach out to him, but they had a show in Gainesville and they do a little Canes segment. And I'd come on. He was always a cool guy, Doring. Great receiver, stud college player. It was him and Spurrier were there. So yeah, the the Gators were catching some strays from Mario and from Kirby. That was the best comment. That was the best one of all. Being on enemy territory, 41-17. He had that one ready.
Yeah. So that was in Gainesville?
Yeah, I think it was in Gainesville. Because I remember when they showed Malley landing the private jet, it said, Miami, he's landing in Canesville. And I didn't understand what they were talking about. Now,
got it.
How it played out. Yeah. It makes more sense that way. That's why the Gator jokes didn't get as many laughs.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. But hey, listen, I Spurrier, I think now that we haven't had to deal with him forever, he could be a guy that you laugh at his persona.
Oh yeah, he was always to me Kiffin's a bad version of that, because Spurrier actually had good jokes.
Right. It seems like Kiffin has bad intentions with a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, he just does it for attention. Where Spurrier, what he said Auburn needed new textbooks because they already colored all their old ones. He had
shout out to Andrew Congdon. I believe this is Ben's father. Appreciate you watching the show today, man.
He's gonna be he'll love the shows during spring because to me, I'm not just saying this because he's on. By the way, appreciate you, Andrew. To me, when I get to those spring practices, and I'm gonna miss the first 4, so I'm gonna be in Colorado, Pete. So you're gonna be holding the fort down. I'll be doing. Maybe I'll do the live show while you're there, and then you do your post show. We'll double dip that way. We'll it's like the Olympics. We'll be at different spots, but I think once I get there, when you're there, to me, where the focus is, Congdon, Cantwell, Buchanan, guys like that, because they're going to have a lot of reps this spring, a lot of reps, more reps than they might even see in the fall, just because of it's spring. People don't play as much. There's injuries, guys get cleanup surgeries, whatever. So there's the people that are healthy in spring tend to play extra. And it's a huge opportunity for guys like that we've been driving that bandwagon for a while in terms of just, I think the freaks of this class, you talk about Cantwell, Congdon, Joel Irvin, there's some freaks in this class, but those two in particular, Cantwell and Congdon, I'm watching very close, and Buchanan.
No doubt about it. And I think, as we've talked about, Ben's going to have some positional versatility there too. So I think he's going to have the ability to play multiple spots across the line, which, not saying Cantwell can't do it, but I'm excited for the possibility of that.
Yeah, look, those guys, you want those
guys, a lot of cross-training work anyways.
You want those guys to be like Cooper and Mauanoa, where they're just kind of tied and then they go to the draft together, right? That's the hope with there. I think we'll have time to compare them, but I would say, Cantwell, because it's just his power in his hands, that's his kind of superpower. Whereas with Congdon, I think his superpower, they're both huge, they're pretty much the same size. Congdon might even be bigger when they stand next to each other. But I think the power for Cantwell is the power, right? That's his superpower, is his hands, his ability to generate power from the shot putting. I think Congdon's superpower is how flexible and low he can get for how big he is being a wrestler, right? So their multi-sport background fits in different ways. I think both guys could be, shaking Goodell's hand one day, and that's the hope.
Exciting, man. Exciting. Looking forward to spring here in about a month's time. I don't know the exact date, but I think it's that last week of March. So looking forward to it. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully Mario and Kirby, or Mario gets put in another room with some coaches, man, this offseason. That was fun. So gives us something to talk about for sure. Appreciate everyone who watched the show today. No afternoon show today, but we have 2 shows tomorrow. We'll have our morning show, and then we have Mike Ryan in the afternoon. And then Thursday and Friday, we'll do the morning show and then afternoon as well. So a lot of content coming up this week here on the CanesInSight channel. Keep it locked. Appreciate you guys watching today.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.